Number 4, what do you think of Rare/Rareware?
This is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah. For me, if it's pre-buyout, they were amazing. But after the buyout, what have they been doing? Except really, really bad Banjo and Kazooie games.
Yeah, I'll be honest. There are a lot of things I do like about our Rareware. Obviously, I love what they did with the DK franchise, because let's be honest, if they hadn't made the Donkey Kong Country series, I wouldn't be a DK fanboy in the first place. I like what they did with the story, and for a while they had like the interesting feature called Scribes, which was essentially answering any fan questions about what they want, which was actually really useful, especially when you're doing research, because they were more than willing to give you free details like that. But like Sven says, after the buyout, it's kind of confusing. I mean, I won't comment on their games because I haven't played any of them since then, because to be brutally honest, I was more of a Donkey Kong fan first, more than I was a Rareware fan. I mean, I played Banjo-Kazooie, I even played Banjo-Tooie, and I liked those games, but at the same time, I've not been interested in any of their new games. I mean, the last Rareware game I've ever played was Star Fox Adventures, and it was alright, but it wasn't really good enough to make me think, right, I definitely need to buy the next Rareware game.
Yeah, that's pretty much the best way to describe it. They haven't really been doing much special since the buyout, and it's mainly been Microsoft anyway.
Yeah, but also from what I've heard, a lot of people have left the studio now, like, just to take music composers as an example, David Wise and Grant and Kirkhope have now gone on their separate ways. Even Fisher said has pretty much dropped out of the music business, and so I'm not sure what she's doing now, because I know she wasn't just a musician, she was also sound design. If you're a fact, she was also the voice of Joanna Dark in A Perfect Dark. Anyway, that's pretty much all I can say. A lot of the people who worked on the DK games have left since then, so it's not 100% the same studio. The only really thing I can say that would carry any weight, because like I said, I haven't played any of their games, is that I do think their new logo is kind of bland.
Yeah, that's pretty boring, actually.
Yeah.
I prefer their old one.
Same here.
Moving swiftly on.
Number 5, what are your thoughts on the console wars?
I'm just gonna come out right now with my opinion. Stupidity. Sheer stupidity.
Yeah, the only thing I can add on to that is stupidity that should have ended years ago. That's really all I can say.
Yeah, seriously. 3rd generation, people. It's been out for 6 years. It can end.
Nothing else we can say on that, so moving swiftly on.
Number 6, what do you think of the NGP PSP2?
Research. It exists. But apparently I didn't do it because I have no idea.
And yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you with this question, but to be honest, I didn't realize there was a PlayStation 2 until I read this question, so...
Same here, actually. Sorry to make your question a massive anticlimax now in 97, but neither of us knew.
I think that's the problem. The PlayStation Portable didn't impress us enough to look up another.
Yeah, I mean, my god, I only like 2 games on it.
Only 4 games vaguely interested me. The Tales of Eternia port, the 2 Final Fantasy Dissidias, and maybe Birth by Sleep. But then again, I'm watching a playthrough of that, so...
Yeah. And for me, it's Valkyria Chronicles 2 and Dissidia 1. I'm just saying Dissidia 1 now because I obviously haven't played 2, so I can't form an opinion on it.
Well, to be fair, I think 2's just only come out in Japan or something like that, so...
Yeah, it's going to be released in March for... Actually, all of us. They're not making the UK wait.
Well, that's interesting. Too bad I don't have a PlayStation Portable, because surprisingly enough, I'm not buying a console for 4 games.
Yeah.
2 of which I've already watched playthroughs of, and I already know the storyline, so I've lost it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I understand not buying a console just for the 2 games, because I bought a Wii just for Fire Emblem 10. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Number 7, what do you think of the Xbox Kinect?
Again, research. I have no idea what it is.
Okay, Kinect is essentially Microsoft's attempt to get into motion controls. I forget exactly how they work. I think it's by using sensors so that it reads the entire body rather than having you move an object around like the remote.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that. It's just Kinect. It doesn't really sound like motion control.
But I guess kinetic energy or Kinect or something. I guess that's what they were going for. And I think, bizarrely enough, Rareware were the ones making the Wii Sports equivalent for it.
Huh. Wonder if that's any good.
Like I said, I have no idea. But as for the Xbox Kinect, I'm kind of in two minds. Part of me wants to be a cynic and just say, oh, Microsoft's just copying Nintendo, trying to grab that audience, yada yada. But at the same time, part of me just wants to be positive and say, well, you know, this could be a good thing. It could create a new wave of original games, and it may open up new people to gaming, because one of the reasons why I honestly dislike the whole hardcore versus casual thing is because, let's just say, we gamers have tended to be isolated. You know, we're used to sort of just hiding away our hobby and everything like that, and then the first time when I decided that, you know, this whole hardcore versus casual thing needed to stop was when I was in a restaurant. It was outside, and I heard two people sort of like talking about how they had just recently got on the Wii, and they were sort of like comparing their games they got and how far they had gotten around. And I turned around to see who they were, just out of vague curiosity. One of them was a child that was about 11 years old. The other one was this elderly couple that were over 60, or at the very least looked over 60, and that, for me, says a lot, because if motion controls and the whole casual gamer audience, etc., can open up that wide range of audience, can sort of just get adults and kids talking about that kind of stuff. If it can put gaming in the spotlight as something everyone can enjoy, and not just be labelled as something that only nerds will do, then, frankly, I say let there be as many motion peripherals or many casual games as there needs to be, because, honestly, that is something I think we should work towards.
Basically that. That story gives me a whole new light on the whole motion control thing, because, yeah, if it can do that, that's pretty amazing.
So, the short answer, if it creates original games and brings new people in, then yeah, sure. Oh, I'm perfectly fine with Kinect.
Basically that. So, let's move on.
Number 8, what do you think of the PlayStation Move?
Basically, the last question.
Yeah, ditto.
Yeah, we're not gonna bore you. I'm sorry. I think that settles that question nicely, so next.
9, what do you think of the Sonic fan base?
Oh God.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I must get something out of the way before we start. It's difficult enough question to answer on its own, but I had to block a really, really insistent Sonic fan literally a week ago. So I have kind of a jaded opinion on this question, so I may be a bit more bitter than I usually am on this subject.
Well, as someone who's put up with the Sonic fan base on videos, not really interacted with them, but seen them on video comments and on forums, oh, it might be pretty hard to outmatch me in terms of bitterness. Let's be honest. If I were to answer the question honestly, I'm going to be fair and say it's like every other fan base, really, in that there are good members of it, and there are bad members of it. Problem is, this fan base is heavily stilted to one side.
Yeah. Or, at the very least, if it's not heavily stilted, it's just that the bad ones are the louder ones.
Yeah. And that seems to be the case with most fan bases. The bad ones are usually the biggest loudmouths, but there's still an awful lot of them. Let's be honest. Yeah,
that's the unfortunate side. I will say there are some good Sonic communities. Like if you go to Find the Computer Room, for example, that's a really good, it's like mature and from what I've seen. I'm not actually a member of them myself, but I've usually just gone on there to gauge reactions out of curiosity. But yeah, that's a really good forum to check out if you want that kind of thing. But if you just go by stuff like YouTube and from what I've heard, the Sonic Stadium, then yeah, it doesn't matter what your opinion of Sonic is. It doesn't matter if you think it's been crap since the Genesis games or you think it's the best ever and people really should start complaining. There are two polarized factions that are just so heavily devoted to their cause that they will just yell at anyone who has an opinion slightly different to them. I mean, I mentioned the guy who I blocked. Basically, he was incensed and angry that I could even vaguely suggest that Sonic 4 was terrible. And I'm just going to use a vague quote. I won't give away his name, but Sonic 4 doesn't suck, you suck! And that he claimed I was a hater, but to be honest, I said in Monkey Broadcast that it was just meh. I didn't think it was a bad game. I just thought it was a good game, or, to be blunt, as good as other Sonic games. Hell, you know, I did like the top 5 thing because I actually like Sonic as a whole, despite the bad games and ridiculous plot holes and everything else. But that's kind of the big problem with the fan base, is that these two sides of, well, let's be blunt, they're bad for ads. They're either nostalgia whores or fanboys, pretty much. These two polarized sides are just so loud and just so malicious that anyone who's standing on the middle ground even gets drowned out or just shouted at until they just get sick of it and leave.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be blunt, this may just be stupidity on my part, but it's how I am. This fan base turns me off Sonic. It really does. It turns me off the games themselves. Call me closed-minded, narrow-minded, shallow, but it does. It just turns me off the object of their affections so much.
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't think either side realizes it, but it gives Sonic a worse reputation than he already has. I mean, the same is true with some other forms. Like, Final Fantasy is one people are also kind of wary on in talking about fan bases. In fact, this is true. Part of the reason why it's taken me so long to reviewing a Final Fantasy game, part of it's because I need to do a bit more research on it and also try and find the perfect opportunity to focus on other games, but there is a part of me that is deeply afraid that I am going to have a massive flame war on my boards just because someone disagrees with my opinion on it. If I say the wrong thing, people will go nuts. That's the...
Yeah, and that's not something that should happen. That's not something a fan base should aspire to. Ever.
Yeah, I would definitely agree to that, so...
Yeah, so basically this is our opinion of it. The good fans, we welcome you, and we would like to debate with you, / just discourse with you. The bad fans, please get hurled out of an airplane and land anus first on a pine tree.
Yeah, or at the very least, just grow up or learn the meaning of the word tolerance, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I think we've said enough. We don't want to start said massive flame war just by giving this opinion.
Yeah, that is true. We said our piece, so we might as well move on.
Yeah.
Alright. Since I let Sven deal with that massive veteran, I'll now deal with the massive veteran DKC Jungle Vine. He was generous enough to send us a lot. So, I'm going to now start with his first question.
What are both your opinions on the 3DS?
Okay, this one we covered the first time we made a Q&A. I believe it was Manju who asked us the question originally, so we can pretty much refer to that. But if you want a Cliff Notes version, if I recall correctly, stop me at any point if this is a misrepresentation, Sven said he wished they would stop making new versions of the DS because there's too many already. I said I was interested by the possibilities of the console, but none of the games so far have really caught my imagination. And to be honest, my position with the 3DS currently as it stands is that I am actually excited by some of the games, but I think if you're a fighting game fan, which I am just for the record, you're gonna be really excited by this, because already you've got Street Fighter 4, Blaze Blue, and Dead or Alive, although that one I'm not keen on.
Yeah, boing, 3D.
Oh god, a load of Dead or Alive fans are gonna kill us now, but yeah.
Oh, this session is so far just pissing off every fan base in the universe.
Yeah, we apologize, but we don't mean to piss you off people, it's just...
It's just, we're honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe a bit too honest, but anyway.
Yeah, but a bit too candid.